Hello everybody, Cindy Grimmy here, Editor-in-Chief at LawMarketing.com, and I'm here with Larry Bodine, the lawyer, professional writer, and lifelong marketer for law firms, and you can find more about him at LarryBodine.com. Larry's going to talk to us today about some new green target research that he found that shows that the best way for lawyers to reach clients is with corporate journalism. So Larry, talk to us a little bit about this. I want you to define what is corporate journalism first and foremost so that people know what we're talking about here, and how can they use this research for their law firm?
Cindy, corporate journalism is approaching something that you're putting out in your content marketing as a journalist would approach it. You know, who, what, when, where, why. Also a commitment to accuracy, fairness, and credibility.
Okay. So how can attorneys use this when it comes to their content marketing or any of the other work that they're doing in their practice?
Well, the important thing to know is that clients, according to this Green Target survey, are suffering from information overload. I mean, you know, aren't we all? And so as a result, you have to cut through the clutter. And the research shows that one thing that readers do trust is traditional news sources and legal news curators. So with 84% of chief marketing officers expecting to produce more content, the approach that's going to get your message through is corporate journalism.
Okay. So Larry, could you take us through an example? I just want to be able to demonstrate to a practice right now how, you know, they can change what they're doing right now to, you know, to consider themselves as providing more corporate journalism.
I'll give you three examples because I do, in my practice, I do a lot of writing as part of my living. So I'm going to give you three examples of articles that got published. Okay. The first one was on the Huffington Post, and it involved a federal appeals court decision. Now, the typical way a law firm would handle this would be to say the 10th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals issued an opinion finding that blah, 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 everybody's bored.
Yep.
But the way that I wrote it was federal court, the police can stop and search you for behaving innocently. And the case involves a woman who was driving down the road, taking a scenic route. She'd come back from shopping, and a policeman pulled her over and stopped her and searched her car. And the basis was that she was driving with her hands at the 10 and 2 position, which is perfectly normal, but the cop thought that that was suspicious. She had tinted windows in her car, which is totally normal. This was Arizona, but the cop afterwards said, well, you know, you could have been hiding illegal aliens that you were smuggling. And the third suspicious behavior was the fact that she had 2 cell phones, which apparently is a common tactic of drug dealers. But, you know, as you know, Cindy, we all have a personal phone, and then a lot of us also have a business phone. Mm-hmm. So I basically wrote the article from the viewpoint of the driver who was unfairly pulled over. So to give you another example, I am the publisher of the National Trial Lawyers, and we update the site every day with a new verdict. So, you know, we could go through, you know, the same old thing about a jury in X location, returned a verdict, this is the dollar amount, and, you know, it starts to read like something you filled out in a form. So what I did in a case where a woman recovered damages where her car was in a collision, she recovered $4.1 million. So one thing a journalist always does is tries to add a little color. So what I did was emphasize the fact that the person who struck her was driving a huge truck, and he hit her from behind, and it was his second. He had already been cited previously twice for rear-ending other cars. So this is a guy that should have never been on the road. And the impact of the collision was so strong, she was thrown out of the vehicle along with her 2 dogs. So, you know, it's the addition of these tiny little details that turn something from just a report into an interesting story.
And the third... Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I want you to share your third example there, Larry. Go ahead.
So I'm also a blogger for the law firm of Price Benowitz in Washington, D.C., and I just filed an article about brain damage. Now, this can be sort of a difficult topic to wrap your mind around because it involves a lot of medical. There are a lot of medical aspects to it. So the way that I couched it is I said, this is an invisible injury that can't be detected on an MRI or an X-ray, but it's really true. And what I typically do is I found 3 points of research that found, do you know, for instance, what are 3 most common examples of where a person will have injury to their brain?
I don't know.
Well, you'd be surprised. One is childbirth. If the infant being born is cut off from oxygen, they can suffer cerebral palsy, which is a brain injury. The second one is sports injuries, which you might expect. However, when we think of sports injury, we all think of, well, football. But it's also hockey, lacrosse, pole vaulting, and baseball. And the third situation where brain injuries occur are, of course, traffic accidents. And the kind of traffic accidents that most commonly produce a brain injury are motorcycle accidents. So you can see, by going into detail, by telling a story, and by citing government statistics, you can take something that's a really kind of dull or tedious or medical topic and really bring it to life and showing the impact that something like brain injury has on ordinary consumers.
I think that's so brilliant, Larry, because I think we do feel a pressure sometimes of continuously creating content, and so we do just kind of create something, okay, got it done, onto the blog, and that's it. And that's a whole other topic, really, when it comes to the content and what else you can do with it. But, coming from that approach, it just kind of completely increases the success of your content with regards to, making sure it's helpful to the user, providing valuable information. So that's a really great way. I love that angle, Larry. I'm going to look out for that and see who's doing that and who's not. And maybe we can touch base on that again sometime in the future.
All right. So basically, the things to bear in mind are that you are telling a story. Stories are what people remember.
Right.
And what makes a story memorable are the little details that highlight it.
Right. I love that. Well, Larry, thanks so much for that research. I really appreciate that. I'm going to tap into you a little bit more on that in another video. But thanks for sharing. I know people can find you at larrybodine.com, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.